It's Tuesday, August 6th, 2013. I'm Rim.
I'm Scott.
And this is Geeknights. We're back from PAX Australia to talk about gaming and PAX in Australia.
Good day.
Let's do this. Yeah, it's been a while since we've done this.
Well, let's save our. Hopefully, we've filled up the bins of material for us to use to get us through the next month. Oh, but then there's a real PAX.
Yep, and then we're gonna have even more material.
And then it'll be the quiet times. We have to use all the material, and then New Year's.
So I was biking to work today.
Yeah, let's do that. Let's talk about biking to work because the Australia material we have to save for the Thursday episode.
No, I got no biking to work. My bit is
I got
back.
no biking to work either because my arm is fucked up.
I bike to work, same as always.
As soon as I can bike to work, yeah, my arm's fucked up. Fuck this.
It's kind of weird being back in the States. I will just say one thing. Because I drove long distance in Australia and I biked around a whole bunch, jaywalking constantly, I almost rode on the left side of the road when I went to work on Monday.
I did not make that mistake ever.
I literally came out and I started to go to the left side of the road. Then my brain's like, Rim, seriously?
I did not make that mistake.
Really?
I think you're just making it up.
No, I actually almost did. Right at under the 7 train and the N. Anyway. But yeah, we're back. We're bad. We missed a crazy ton of news like the Steam sale, which luckily
I was able to buy games using my mobile app.
Well, the Steam sale got us doubly because we had Kineticon. So we're running everything there and then checking our Steam apps and buying things. Like I remember Civ 5 went on flash sale while I was doing Kineticon stuff and I had to get the app working to buy the game in
Thankfully,
time.
they seem to have realized that there were people who had Civ 5 but didn't have anything added to it. So they had a special upgrade pack for $5. They got you everything but the Brave New World, and then Brave New World was on sale. So I was able to get exactly all the things I didn't have for a very reasonable price. Good on them for recognizing.
Good on them.
Yeah, for having that that package.
But then we're in Australia at PAX, and there was this great moment where we're talking to the security guard hanging out outside of PAX, and basically the guy's like, yeah, Steam sale, you realize you should check it at 1 in the morning, right?
I think it was 3 in the morning.
Yeah.
Because usually it updates at 1
day.
p.m. in New York, and I think it updates at 10 or 11 in the morning in California where Valve is.
That was the night we'd arrived in Melbourne, so that was the moment I realized, oh shit, son, we're a long way away from home.
Yeah. It was
poor Australian gamers checking
it was really interesting though, because it's we would be finishing up Tuesday's almost over. Oh, in New York, Tuesday is just starting.
Yeah, assholes, enjoy our already pre-used day.
Yeah,
we had this day.
You realize it's what? This is a Tuesday show, right? It's already Wednesday in Australia.
I know.
They're already Wednesdaying, probably sleeping or about to wake up, and we are still not done with Tuesday yet.
So, of all the news we could have talked about, I mean, Dragon's Crown is having its furor both between the people mad about it and the people mad
you mean furor?
And people mad about being mad about it, and people saying it's sexist, and people saying it's not sexist, and people, it's all over the place, but I really don't care. Though
I also don't care.
Though, the game apparently, according to people I trust, is a fun game.
I'm again it.
You're gonna get it?
I'm again it.
Okay. But and the Steam sale.
It's just really, all the art I've seen is just hideous. Whether it's sexist or not, it's just hideous. But it's unpleasant to behold.
It's supposed to be hideous on purpose, which in a way...
yeah, I can recognize that, but I still personally, I'm not made pleasure by gazing my eyes upon it, so I will not subject myself to that further.
Look at 2 anime movies. Sword of a Stranger was a sort of just straightforward action drama anime.
Yeah.
And then there was Skycrawlers, which was slow and repetitive and slow and long
neither one
and
was
repetitive.
Displeasing to my brain.
Yeah, for most people, slow, long, slow, repetitive, long, repetitive, and slow do not a great movie make, and they find those
Their
movies.
attention spans are small.
But that because my point
their attention span is the size of my tolerance for ugliness.
My point is that movie was a perfect confluence of form and function. It is possible that in the case of this game, the hideous art is designed to complement the hideous gameplay.
I do not trust that anyone who would create that hideous art would be simultaneously wise enough to develop the other parts.
I would have been more likely to play it if it had looked like Penny Arcade's rendering.
That is true.
But yeah, of all the news I could talk about, there actually is something I do want to talk about because it's basically the inverse of the news I was talking about back when the Wii came out. But in a way, it's the same news. So turns out that even now, the Wii U is literally being outsold on a day-to-day basis by the Wii.
Yep.
The Wii. A dead, deprecated console is selling more than Nintendo's flagship product.
Hooray.
I don't know what I can
teach
say
you a
about
lesson.
that.
Maybe I hope just Nintendo learns a lesson.
I don't think they have. I've also
They never will.
it is possible because Nintendo was not profitable and they have returned to profitability. It is entirely possible that the majority of their return to profitability was nothing more than a currency fluctuation.
Though that happens when you're a foreign company.
Yeah.
And you make a lot of your money. If you live in one country and make all your money from another country, like, think about it. A British pound is worth a lot of money, right?
I'm in that boat with my actual day job
What
company.
if we worked in India and had rupees, but we did business in the UK and all our income was pounds coming to India digitally?
So, Scott,
we would be raking in
Scott,
so
I'll put
much.
it this way. I know people who worked in the US, moved to India, continued to work for the company in the US, making their original US salary
and
in
living
India.
like kings.
Those people are not living like kings. They are living like God kings.
God kings.
I would almost consider moving to India.
If it didn't smell like poop. Listen,
is-
there's plenty of other places we can move and be just as God kingly.
How about Estonia?
Not the worst.
I hear there's a lot of nerdery going on in Estonia.
I mean, it could even be somewhere that's,
How about Australia, where American dollar's weaker?
that's only slightly.
And everything-
It was effectively equal. I didn't have to
Yeah.
pay attention to
It's
it.
interesting how the dollar was slightly weaker than their dollar, but yet things cost 50% more in their own dollars.
Well, also the tax. Let's save it. Save
We'll
all
save
the
it, save it,
Australia
save it.
Turk.
But I don't think Nintendo is learning their
Australia
lesson.
talk.
Because what Nintendo seems to be doing is, one, the DS, which has become the 3DS, that product line is still doing fine, though I think it's still seriously getting hurt by mobile. A lot of
Yeah.
people aren't going to buy the
I
shovelware.
don't know if the 3DS is doing as well as the DS
Definitely not.
GBA, but it's still doing really fucking well.
But the thing is, look at what they're focusing on. There are third-party games, they're really good, but the shovelware is not doing as well because no one's going to buy $40 shovelware for the expensive 3DS when they can buy $1 shovelware from the $1 App Store.
That's right. I only play shovelware on my phone. I don't play no shovelware on my 3DS.
Yep. Meanwhile, me, who's tired of Nintendo who betrayed me and all us hardcore so-called gamers, recently just bought a pile of 3DS games. But I'm not going to buy the Wii U because there's literally no game that's worthwhile on
One
the console.
positive for Nintendo, you know those little Street Pass games?
Yeah, Candy Box. Those games are all Candy Box.
Okay,
Scott, I
so
can't believe you're playing them.
The 4-game
You paid money to play those games.
4-game Candy Box package for $15, right? Do you know how much money Nintendo has made in total?
Oh, Nintendo knows.
Nintendo made, I think the number in the article I read was a total of $8 million from sales of the Candy Box package alone.
So Nintendo has learned.
I might be remembering the number wrong. Look it
Now
up.
this is why I'm saying Nintendo didn't learn their lesson. Nintendo, when they moved from the GameCube, which had wonderful tech demos and experiments, that was like the height of Nintendo, not from a business perspective, not from any perspective, but me as a gamer wanting to play
It's just because you
Nintendo
happen to
games.
be in an environment in which it was perfect. If we were in college right now, the Wii U would actually be kind of okay.
Kind of okay, but it wouldn't be
The
as
Wii
good
U
as the
would have been
GameCube.
the Wii. If you were in college 4 years earlier, the Wii would have been our GameCube, right? Because it would have been the multiplayer system of choice.
Except I think we would have used the Wii to play a lot of multiplayer GameCube games.
Possibly,
But that's a separate discussion.
but there was Mario Party Wii.
But Nintendo moved from its previous demographics to the Blue Water strategy, the open oceans, and they started going after these casual light markets and all these things. And I don't want to try to say that casual gaming is bad because that's a really loaded term anyway. But Nintendo is still going after that kind of market and is really ignoring gamers like me.
Yeah.
So I don't know what their future is because that
Where's
kind
our
of,
3DS Advance Wars, bitches?
Yeah, well, there's Fire Emblem instead, which
3DS
seriously, guys, Fire Emblem
not as good as Advance Wars.
kind of fun, but it's just mediocre dating game coupled with Crystal Warriors.
I have a feeling the 3DS one has a little bit more dating than the previous ones did. Not that the other ones didn't have
Now,
it.
I've gone through emulation and looked at old, but these games are baby's first Advance Wars, which means that the Pokemon Tactics game is baby's first.
Baby's first.
I don't have a better way to describe it.
Anyway,
Yeah, Nintendo.
Nintendo.
It's not looking so good. I feel like you need to break open the safe that has your secret backup strategy and realize that what it says in there is a monolith with the simple phrase
Pokemon MMO, bitches, and also Advance Wars.
So I was thinking of Roanoke, and I realized that the perfect comic.
The island?
Yeah.
Okay.
You know, the mystery of where everyone disappeared?
Everyone disappeared, yes.
And they found. So imagine the Nintendo offices empty. Nintendo is out of business. Archaeologists come into the Nintendo headquarters. They find all the abandoned Wii U's and the abandoned game consoles. And in Miyamoto's office, they find written on a single piece of paper, in fact, carved into his desk, the words Pokemon MMO.
Anyway. So, this is a really interesting news. I posted it on the forum and had a discussion, but as I know, people who listen to the show aren't in the forum, and people in the forum don't listen to the show, so I just
Always funny.
Yeah, and it was just a really fascinating thing that happened in the gaming world, so I really want to discuss it. So, here's the deal. Fighting game community, right? It has ups and downs, positives and negatives, but, fighting games I respect as a competitive, skill-based game, and it's, they have real competitions. It's totally cool. There was a tournament in New York, and these two guys got to the finals, and in the opinion of the guy who was organizing the tournament, named Spooky, he thought that the two players getting to the finals, who were in the finals, were colluding. Now, what were they colluding, right? They were battling in the final round to see who would be the champion of this tournament and win the prize.
Now, all right,
what could they possibly collude on? That would be like the two teams in the Super Bowl. What,
all right, so
were they gambling?
So the Super Bowl, it's the Lions versus the Browns. What do they agree?
This is big teams.
Do they agree to make it a draw?
You can't.
Okay. Do they agree to play forever in overtime, trolling the entire rest of the world?
They would die.
They could make it a while. Are they allowed to bring food out for
they
them?
both really want to win the Super Bowl, so that's not going to happen, right? In this case,
would they? Because I could. All right. So here's what they could do: if two teams got to the Super Bowl,
you're just dragging the show out with nonsense,
and they agreed that they should play to a draw for as long as they possibly can. That game would go down in history. Make everyone
not
involved.
benefit the teams. The teams, they would basically call orange immediately and try to win the Super Bowl because everyone really wants to win it badly.
It might benefit
and only
the players.
one side can win.
Yeah.
Anyways, in this case, that was not such, right? These guys basically realized, if I win this tournament, I get the prize money. If I lose, I get significantly less. If I collude with this guy, we can basically both agree to split all this prize money between us. We don't care about this tournament that much. It's not the Super Bowl. It's a lesser tournament. It's like a New York City tournament, right? So let's agree to split the prize money. Now, there isn't evidence that they did this, but it was suspected that they did this because apparently, if you watch them play the final match, they weren't playing the characters they're really good at. They were obviously not trying to win, right, with their full might. They were, it's arguable that they may have been, but most likely they were not putting their full effort to win, and they were not putting on a good show for the spectators, right? It'd be like if you, like that badminton in the Olympics, right? Except in the badminton in the Olympics, they were losing in order to win the big tournament. Here, they were losing, or at least, losing sort of on purpose.
If it's true,
right?
It's a very simple function. And you already alluded to this. Their utility function is the money and the lifestyle that
they
money
would
supports.
rather have half of the total prize pool for first and second than try to, than risk having the second place prize, which is not enough.
Now, note, this is only possible.
And don't really care about the benefit of getting the big first place prize.
This is only possible due to a combination of tournament structure and the fact that it's a competitive direct game as opposed to, say, golf. Golf has similar prize structures, yet there is no way for two players to collude to share the top spots because they're all playing solitaire.
Well, they're not trying to tie, right? They were just basically saying, okay, we already know who win. We're going to just share it, so let's just dick around, right? As opposed to...
Well, because
let's put forth... And the reason...
What they have both bought from each other is security of not having to risk losing.
No.
The money.
No. The reason that they did not put forth the full effort in winning, right? Because it's like, okay, we've decided to split the money no matter what. So why not try to win and put on a show anyway, thus guaranteeing that, the person who's in charge of the tournament doesn't think we've colluded and isn't going to shut it down, which he did. And that the people get a good show. The reason they don't do that is because they don't want to reveal their full power, right? They don't want to show off if they want to play to win, they actually might have to use their strongest techniques, and thus other people in the community in other places who they're going to fight in bigger, more important tournaments that they care about will see those techniques. Much like if a football team had a trick play that was so good it was going to win the game, right? But if they used it like during the regular season to win a game, then they couldn't use it in the Super Bowl later because the other team might see it coming.
Game theory, guys. Everyone's as smart as you are.
Right. So they wanted to keep their, basically their moves and their combos and their strategies a secret so that they could, they would still be fresh and surprising at a more important tournament that they cared about. A football team in the Super Bowl is going to pull out all the stops, right? This was the finals. People should pull out all the stops in the finals. But it
wasn't the final because the Super Bowl...
It was the finals of this tournament, not finals of some other tournament that was more important. So... Because they were both able to keep their secrets to hopefully do better in a later tournament and share the prize, they put on a shit show for the spectators.
Now, the real reason why this is impossible, like look at baseball, for example. Yes, it is conceivable maybe someone came up with a new style of pitching that is just better in some way.
But you can't duplicate it by watching the guy.
But even
you need a guy who can do it.
But even if you watch it, figure out, it's possible. I mean, look at atomic bomb research.
Yeah, it's like we know how to throw the knuckleball. Guess what? You're going to have to practice a lot before you can throw it as well as that guy.
But a lot of the reason that other people were able to develop atomic weapons after the U.S. did was because once the U.S. detonated one, even though detonating it didn't tell you how they did it, it proved that it was possible. Mm-hmm. Once you know it's possible, you know what to train.
This is a little more obvious because you can just get the streamed video of the tournament, right, or a recorded video or whatever, and then just watch it frame by frame and see, I see what he did there.
So why does this never happen? How come there hasn't been a World Series where suddenly something crazy happened? Because that sport has been around for a long time, and there literally are no more secrets or trick plays.
That's true.
There is nothing left you can do that is novel in baseball.
That's true.
Literally nothing. Football, there is almost nothing you can do that is novel.
Now, the reason that you can do things now, here's the thing, though. Some fighting games, there is nothing. It's Street Fighter 2. There's nothing you can do that's novel. I'm pretty sure it's all been done, right? But they keep updating shit. Street Fighter 4 is actually getting another update. They're making like Hyper Street Fighter 4 or Ultimate or some ridiculous, at first it was Street Fighter 4, then Arcade Edition. Now they're coming out with another update. And the reason is that they're having longer and longer development times. So Street Fighter 5 probably isn't going to be here for many years yet. They're talking like 2018 or something. So they're going to keep updating Street Fighter 4 on the side to keep Street Fighter alive, right? Keep adding characters and updating stuff with these updates that they charge money for and use that until Street Fighter 5 is ready. But by adding characters, by changing things, right? The game keeps changing. There's novel things, you can think, there's so many characters now. There's always something you can think up that hasn't been done before. And the word on the street is that with this new update to Street Fighter 4, their goal is not to balance the characters by like making the top class characters weaker, but basically to make every character stronger, right? So it's like, imagine if it was Dragon Ball, right? It's like, well, Super Saiyan Goku is the strongest, right? So rather than say, well, it's unfair to pick him, let's make him weaker. It's like, no, let's make everyone else as strong as that. And then that way we'll even the tables. And we're going to see how that turns out. That's pretty interesting. I want to see what happens.
Well, I think there's a sort of meta issue here that because this tournament system of games that are professional, video games basically, where there's actually a scene around it, there's money around it, is so new and so young that the small number of people...
And you might be like, it's like decades old. Yeah, baseball's like a century old.
Yeah. Hockey predates good modern video technology.
Yeah. American football is new. And you know what? The rules change a lot all the time.
Yep.
Right?
But all these sports also have in common that there are long-standing rules bodies that have semi-monopolies over these sports.
And that's the other important thing. When you have one governing body for the whole sport, that governing body can actually control people, right? It can be like, look, we're going to ban you from the sport. There are no meaningful matches in this sport that we do not govern.
But now
we can kick you out.
If one video game league says, yeah, we're banning you because you cheated and that guy's popular.
You just go play in another one.
Yeah, they're basically giving the
banned
competition.
From this one. It's like if we ban people from our Netrunner tournament for like poor sportsmanship, it's like, okay, there's 100 other gaming stores they can go to a Netrunner tournament at. They just can't go to that one.
Yep.
Right? It's like,
But also, these kinds of games, notice how there's a very small number of people in the top tier Rattata. That's because it takes a lot of practice and dedication to get to that point in these games. And the people who have the time to do that pretty much need that to be their lifestyle. So they literally need to win enough tournaments to fund their lives, to continue playing the game, to be good enough at it, to continue winning tournaments. It's a vicious cycle.
Yep.
As a result, they cannot risk losing that money stream.
Mm-hmm.
They need a steady income from the tournament scene, and the tournament scene is too immature to provide that to more than a very small number of people. And that small community of people all know each other really well and are actually really insular and really segregated from a lot of the rest of the gaming community.
See, now you think about it, it's an individual sport, right? And the way individual sports like tennis and golf, the way that those work, the way that people can devote their lives to be a pro golfer or pro tennis player is because the prize payout goes all the way down. If you're in a PGA golf tournament and you come in like 30th place, you get thousands of dollars.
You've all seen Happy Gilmore.
Right. You get tons of money for not coming in anywhere close to first place, just for showing up, right? Last place, I'm pretty sure, gets a not insignificant amount of money, depending on the tournament, right? Even if it's not a major tournament, And if it's like the U.S. Open, like the U.S. Open, all those ones that say open on them, it's called open because it's open. If you're good enough, you're in. You don't have to be a pro. You don't have to be anything special. It's just you play into it.
There's also a structure of related industries that make enough money to subsidize a lot of this.
Yeah,
There's
all that money
advertising.
comes from like golf ads, and all the commercials when you watch it on TV.
How much money do you think the vending services, hot dogs and Red Bull or whatever, at every video game tournament in America combined is compared to one football game?
Yep.
So there aren't these structures in place, and basically everything we've talked about has created a kind of toxic tournament culture.
Anyway, let's move on.
It's an interesting story. So things of the day. I'm kind of excited to be able to do this again. I got charged up quite
I can't
a laser.
remember what things of the days I've used, but I have a zillion of them.
I have saved several, but the one I want to talk about now is a game in the Google Play Store that is now my new favorite game. Send Me to Heaven. It's an app. You can download it.
It's in the Google Play Store, so is it only for Android?
Supposedly only for Android.
Okay, I don't have Android, so...
If you actually play this game, and you don't need the app to play it, you can play the game without the app if you're clever, or if you have a friend helping you. I take no responsibility if you play this game. So, Send Me to Heaven.
You just kill somebody?
It's a sport game. Player is supposed to throw his phone as high as possible and catch it.
I'll throw some other phone as high as...
The app should measure the height of the phone fly from the player's hand. The higher, the better. There's a leaderboard.
Nope. I will do that. I should get a phone just to play that, and we'll use a water balloon slingshot or a model rocket.
I love the idea.
Just like a throwaway phone.
I love the idea of games like this because it's almost... It's like an art installation. It's like watching someone continuously run into that first Goomba over and over again. Even if this is a joke, the idea of a game like this, real world consequences for something minor.
And I'm pretty sure, how does that phone measure how high it went? I think it's just a trick to get you to break your phone.
Well, I mean, my GPS actually, if I put it in real time mode and I get it calibrated, does a pretty good job of detecting elevation changes.
Really?
Yeah.
But
Pretty good.
wouldn't it's GPS, so wouldn't it just be telling you the elevation of the spot on the map you're standing? So if you go to a mount-
No, it tells you the elevation of where you are.
Really?
It's just not. It's not super accurate sometimes because it needs a lot of calibration. Because
You
GPS,
really need a barometer for that shit.
the way the satellites are, it's better at your spatial two-dimensional relative to your perception position.
Anyway, my thing of the day. So when I was a kid, I had He-Man toys, which were kind of cool. I had Battle Damage He-Man Skeletor, right?
Yep.
And one of the toys I had was
I also had both of those.
was Moss Man, and Moss Man was kind of fuzzy, and he smelled funny, right? And Moss Man was pretty cool. The thing is, there was another guy I did not have, and his name was Stinkor. And Stinkor smelled sort of just like Moss Man. What is interesting is that if you find an old Stinkor figure today, he still stinks. It's like 30 years old, this action figure.
That's kind of crazy.
Why does Stinkor still stink even though dude is 30 years old action figure, right? Usually an old toy, whatever it is, doesn't work anymore. You find a battle damage He-Man, guess what? That battle damage is just permanently stuck on full damage, right? You find like a Teddy Ruxpin, he ain't telling you any stories. Okay? It's just not going to happen. Glowworm, no glow. It's just, he's too old. He's dead. It's not going to happen. But for some reason, Stinkor still stinks. How does Stinkor still stink? There's this really, really incredible article that tells you why Stinkor still stinks. Basically, they put patchouli oil in the plastic.
Just like actually in the plastic.
Yeah, but the rest of this article tells you all sorts of other interesting things about Stinkor, so you should check it out.
Stinkor's the kind of thing that you would expect to be a parody of a real toy in a movie.
So if you
that's the kind of thing you see an ad for in the background in RoboCop.
Even He-Man, which was, basically the sell toys garbage, right? The people making the show refused to put Stinkor in the show.
Man's got to have a line.
He only actually appeared, I think, in like some crappy comic spin-off or something. It's like they wouldn't even put him in the show because he was just too far.
No matter how low a man goes, he's got to have a line. Even a beggar sneers at someone who's too poor to give him alms.
Yep, exactly. Exactly.
So, in the meta moment, holy fuck, we're back.
Holy shit.
It's been a long time since we've done Geek Nights.
And we're going to only do Geeknights for a few weeks
and then
go to
PAX.
Seattle.
Yep, we're going to be presenting at least one panel at PAX on Monday. Bad games.
Monday? Is this PAX? Holy shit, 4 days?
4 days of PAX.
What?
I can hardly contain myself. I'm actually really excited.
So much PAX, playing all the games. This PAX is going to be dedicated to 3 things. Number one, 4 things.
Well, all right. So let's see for 4 things the same thing. I want to dedicate it to playing multiple games of Eclipse.
Okay.
Tabletop RPGs.
Yeah.
Hanging out with strangers. Going to some concerts because there's additional concerts.
There is one extra concert because extra day.
Yeah. Also, I have an extra day. And the thing is, you might think that one extra day doesn't seem like that big a deal. Let me tell you something, kids. When we first went to MagFest, it was 4 days long. It felt like I was there forever. It felt like I walked into this place and then I walked out months afterward. Somehow that extra day, because you get at a normal con, Friday.
But this isn't Thursday, Friday, Saturday, Sunday. This is Friday, Saturday, Sunday, Monday.
Exactly. So now we're going to get the Thursday pregame, full on Friday, full on Saturday, full on Sunday, and then Gimped Monday.
Yep.
Usually you get half on Friday, full on Saturday, Gimped Sunday.
Anyway, so here's what I'm doing this PAX. Number 1, tabletop RPGs all the way. I'm going to sign up. I'm going to find the guys who are running the games on demand. I'm going to be like, I'm GMing. Hook it up. Let's go.
I'm going to find someone else to run Torchbearer for me because I haven't learned it yet.
I'll do it. 2, right? I'm going to play Netrunner. Of course.
Of course.
Of course. There's actually going to be a PAX tabletop official Netrunner tournament, but I don't know, it was listed as doing a single elimination, which is wrong. That's not a Netrunner tournament, so I might have to go and volunteer to, temporarily administer the tournament, see if the enforcers are down with that. I'm sure they will be, right? 3, the regular PAX business, of course.
Yep.
Right? And 4, 3DS shit. Because, there's going to be Smash.
Oh, you mean your candy box?
I'm pretty sure there's going to be Smash Brothers by then.
So, I've noticed something. I've noticed, since the 3DS came out, a very different culture of pickup gaming that basically precludes what you're expecting to happen.
Oh.
So when we first got the regular DS, you go to any con and Dicto Chat would be full to the point that you couldn't join.
Dicto Chat?
People were just drawing penises all over the place.
Everyone instead is now, they got swap note. No one uses swap note.
You go into any panel room at any convention, even like Otakon, in the earliest days of the regular DS. Dicto Chat was just full. And if you just said you put it in looking for game mode, like look for download play, there'd be like 10 games going on. I have turned on download play in many locations since I got my 3DS, including PAX Australia. Never, ever have I seen a pickup game.
Because everyone's playing Candy Box?
Because everyone's playing Candy Box, or they're playing single-player Animal Crossing, and that's it.
I think of Smash Brothers hits.
Nope, you're going to have to find an individual person and say, yo, you. Specific person.
Man, at PAX, that's going to be so hard. I'm never going to find anybody.
Yeah, you're going to try to do that, and you're going to say, sorry, I'm in the middle of Animal Crossing, or I'm busy with my street passes.
Animal Crossing is already starting to fade.
No, it's not.
Yeah, it is.
Yeah, what are you basing that on?
The thread hasn't bumped in a while.
Oh, that's because they're all playing Animal Crossing. There's nothing left for them to say.
Other metas. The book club book is
Stasi-Land, true accounts of what it was like inside of, and around the Stasi. You know, the secret police in East Germany during the Soviet Union and after the fall of the Berlin Wall and all that business.
You mean before? The fall of the wall?
So after the fall of the wall is when most of these stories are told or take place.
Oh, really?
Some of the stories are, this guy was
90s?
This guy was in the Stasi, and now he's a normal person.
Oh, okay.
A lot of stuff like that. You obviously have not read the book club book yet.
No, but I mean, it's like I thought most of the stories, while they may have been told after the fall, they happened before.
But a lot of the parts of the stories happen after, and a lot of the relevant information happens after. Like, there's a group of people who are basically the MRAs of bullshit secret police spying. Who are like, what we did was justified, and you guys are persecuting us for doing what we were supposed to be doing.
Nope. We've already been through that, guys.
Yeah, I feel like this book is a good book club book.
In the same country. We've been through this in the same country.
Because we're kind of going through this again right now, and not enough people seem mad about this.
Bread and circuses.
You've got to get mad.
Bread and circuses. Anyway, other meta moments. If you're, I guess, a new person, this is the first episode we've done in a PAX since PAX Aus. You should go find us everywhere that we are on the internet, which is Twitter, which is Facebook, which is Google+, which is our forum.
YouTube. Maybe half of our PAX lectures ever are all on YouTube for you to watch.
Right. We also have a newsletter, and I'm going to send another one out soon.
Shit.
We just haven't done any new episodes that I can write about in the newsletter. So maybe next week I'll send the next newsletter.
And you saw some of the trickle already. There will be a long-form trickle of videos and things and pictures from PAX Australia as we get them together. And Kineticon. I have video of a bunch of stuff from Kineticon.
Kineticon was right before PAX Australia, and we haven't talked about that yet. That was a big deal. Dave
Riley and a Jay showed up. They did their panel. I have video and audio of it. I'm going to upload it. You can watch it. I want to use this as ammo to convince Dave to come to more conventions like MagFest and PAX.
You should really just go to MagFest, seriously.
MagFest is kind of up your alley.
Drinking and gaming.
Drinking and gaming
concerts.
with chill people.
I mean, come on.
There are non-chill parts of MagFest.
Like?
The stink in the corner.
You don't go there.
Yeah, just stay out of that corner.
Anyway.
But yeah, the whole reason we flew halfway around the world, 25 hours of traveling each way, skipping an entire day, was to go to PAX Aus, the first PAX Aus. So we reviewed basically the first PAX we went to, and, the first PAX East, and we don't really do a full review of every PAX we go to because we go to several a year. But
it's mostly the same every time, and certain people who like convention shows and certain ones who don't. So we try to, balance between the two, having them and also not having them.
Though I will say one thing: all of you who tell us that no one wants to hear the convention episodes, seriously, guys, half the people who talk to us tell us the exact opposite. Stop trying to pretend that you're the majority. You're not.
It's half and half. Who knows? But we got to talk about PAX Australia, right?
It's the first one.
That's right, and it's a big deal. Because Australia is desperate for nerdery. And this was the first time anyone brought them some real nerdery. So they were very, very grateful.
Yeah. And you know what? the one thing that I can say that is absolutely apparent about nerds in Australia is that they are way more dedicated to their nerdery than the average nerd in the US.
You have to be.
Yeah, things cost way more money.
The supply of nerdery is lower. Right?
You live in a country that doesn't have free speech.
Yep. The cost of nerdery is higher. Right?
Yeah, we went to a comic shop that was nearby the con.
The difficulty of finding other nerds is higher.
And in this comic shop, there was a My Little Pony backpack. It was $100 goddamn.
Holy shit.
There was manga.
That's like a $20 throwaway thing in like an anime con dealer's room.
$5 manga was $10.
Yep.
$4 comics were $6.
And the sign that said this week's comics, I was pretty sure those were last week's comics. So they weren't that far behind because I did see a guy on the train reading Saga Volume 2. So not too far behind, but still not up to date. Everything is slow there.
Yep. A lot of games don't legally get released because of the weird free speech laws there. So,
it's not a good place. It's not the best place for nerds, but there are nerds there. It's, they're there for other reasons. That's just where they live. People live everywhere, and you got to do what you got to do.
And it was very telling that we arrived on Thursday morning. We walked around, and then we decided to just go and get our badges, even though really we were supposed to get them Friday. So we just got on the tram, went to the PAX grounds to see what was up, and it was at the showgrounds. That's a horse racing track.
Yeah, I mean, the showgrounds was also used for other things besides the horse racy thing, but it was mostly an outdoor sort of kind of place where you would have rodeos or tractor pulls.
Now, this appears to be because this is not a city or even a country that has convention centers like we're used to in the U.S. Those things that we have, like the BCC, the BCEC, they're kind of anomalies in the world. There aren't that many places like that.
Nope.
And the U.S. seems to have more of them than anywhere else because they're mostly built by taxpayers and corruption.
Mm-hmm.
But it was a showgrounds. So we get there and we don't know how to get in. We're on this like dark street. There's a fence. Everything's dark. And we eventually find all these enforcers who also can't figure out how to get in. And we all just start walking. We eventually find a guy wearing an orange vest. We go to walk in. And he asks us if we're enforcers, and we, of course, say yes, because I kind of want to just go in and get my badge, even though we're not enforcers.
We weren't enforcers this time.
Yes, not at this PAX.
Not right now, but I will be maybe next year.
And the guy was trusting, and it just gave us orange visibility vests and told us how to get in, so we could just walk in.
So I just carried my vest. I'm like, I'm not wearing Torquay vest.
And they're like, no, you got to wear it, because there were forklifts flying around at high velocity everywhere.
Yeah, whatever.
And the guy was a super nerd gamer.
He was also like a big chef. Like this is a cool dude, the security guard at PAX Australia. So
yeah, he was working the security shift so that he could get a chance to walk around PAX because it was sold out.
Yeah, it was just, this guy was a cool dude. I remember that guy, just like I remember Scottish dude from those other PAXs.
Yep,
Scottish dude, if you're listening, email us or something.
Yeah.
You're an awesome dude.
We walked around the Sci-Fi Museum in Seattle after PAX one year.
Yeah, you remember that?
Yeah.
You're that guy. We're those guys.
Yeah, and you're that guy. And with our powers combined,
we saw you at PAX East even. Come on.
We can be those guys.
Come back to PAX East.
You should have come to PAX Australia so they could have made fun of your accent yet again.
Yeah.
But this guy, this cool security guard who was super cool, we hung out there for a while just talking to him and hanging out. And one by one, all the enforcers who came up and joined our conversation led me to realize something very interesting. Now, I cannot say this is universal to Australia. It might have just been because it was a PAX, and it's purely anecdotal. But I have to say, everyone we met that night hanging out at the entrance to PAX was super chill, super into gaming.
Not that guy.
And when queried as to what kinds of games they like, they gave advanced and complicated answers filled with nuance.
Also, mostly PC games.
Mostly PC gaming. I pretty much rapidly got the impression that in Australia, console gaming is looked down on as kind of like baby gaming. Like, yeah, if you can't get your PC to work, like you don't know how to get a gaming PC, then I guess you could buy an Xbox.
Yeah, they literally had stores, physical stores on the street that looked like Newegg the store. There were more than one of these, right? I really only saw one GameStop in the bottom of a mall, and it was pretty sad. Yeah, basically there are as many of the PC buying stores as we have GameStops.
Yep. And you ask someone here, like if I ask a random person at PAX, like, hey, what kind of game are you? Like, what kind of games are you into? They usually give a really shallow answer. Now, they might be a very deep gamer. They might be really into gaming, but they give the initial, safe, shallow answer. any random person I asked this con, like, yeah, so what are you playing? They'd be like, LOL, but I only play these 4 characters. Like, that's the first thing they would say. Or I really only play Counter-Strike 1.6. Actually, a lot of people said Counter-Strike 1.6.
A lot of people did say that. And it's obvious why, because the consoles are too much money and the Steam sale is a savior to them, right? Just like it's a savior to us, but to them even more so.
So we, go in and we walk around and we realized at this moment of revelation, because there were hundreds and hundreds of people all over the place, and the enforcers were all getting their information and checking in. And I realized at that moment that with the exception of maybe 10 or 15 people, none of them had ever enforced before, and the vast majority of them had never experienced a PAX before.
I saw like 5 enforcers that I mean, not counting, say, Robert Koo or Heels, right? It's like there were like 5 enforcers maybe that I knew from other PAXs.
Yeah.
Tops.
Though it also caused this weird moment where it was like that first PAX we went to way back in 2008, where it was really just me and Scott. And we met some listeners, and we didn't really know anyone in Seattle, didn't really know any enforcers. It was all new to us. So we kind of went into it with this mindset of, we don't know anyone. We're going to have to like find people. People all seemed to know who we were here, and it was kind of weird.
That was weird.
It was really, really weird to be walking down the hall, or I guess the tent at PAX in Australia, the first one ever. We'd never presented, neither one of us ever been to Australia before. And people are just like, hey, Rim and Scott, hey, what's up? Hey, we know you. And we're like, hey, all you people we don't know.
Mm-hmm.
So yeah, literally Big Top. We go to the Big Top where Tabletop was. It was a circus Big Top.
It was. This is a showgrounds. It was outside. It was cold.
Like complete with those angled pillars that hold the tent up and those weird platforms and spotlights.
PAX,
it was a circus.
I guess they were doing what they had to work with down under.
It was a circus Big Top. And let me tell you, shit was cold.
It was cold in there.
I was so cold.
You would always hang out they had these heating, blowing things near the entrances, and there would always be little groups hanging out around them talking, and we met a lot of cool people hanging out by the heaters.
Yeah, because that's where you hung out, because it was fucking cold.
So we'd go by the heating blower, take turns standing directly in front of it or around it, and chat it up, and always cool people were standing there.
Well,
cool,
yes,
temperature-wise,
trying
and also
to warm up.
Yes.
But it was so cold, and it was pouring rain for most of PAX. So you'd see people like working up the gumption to run across the significant distance in the rain to get from the Big Top and its open fucking side through the rain to PC Gaming, which was its own like separate building, which I guess that's where like the press people watch the horse races.
I don't know. But yeah, things that were different about this PAX. I mean, the PAX, even though it had all this, it was totally Australia, totally new, it was mostly like other PAXs, only A, smaller.
Yep.
B, outside and cold. C, it was like an early PAX. It was like traveling in a time machine and going back to PAX 08 or 07, which I wasn't even at, right? Where no one there knew how to PAX, but they figured it out and they came to mostly the same conclusion that all the other PAXs had come to, and they did the same thing. They were figuring it out. Like you go to the Q&A and it's like, oh, this feels like the Q&A from 5 years ago, and I bet in 5 years this will feel like the Q&A at PAX 2013.
We had a bet. We wanted to make a PAX Oz bingo. We didn't have time to put it together because of Kineticon, but one of the things I wanted to put on it was emotionally charged PA Q&A question. The first question was basically a guy whose like friend died and didn't get to come to the con, but they'd been waiting their whole lives for a PAX, and it was just so great to see them. And it pretty much just went on for there. It was just like that first PAX East, where all these people who have never gotten to meet Mike and Jerry before and never gotten to see
that
this.
Stuff still happens at the other PAXs, but not as much because everyone's sort of already gotten it out of their system.
The majority of the people
of the stuff at the other PAXs by this point is sort of like, hey guys, what's up again? How's that thing going that we do every time that we do this?
Yep. Though I got to experience something great because I got up in line. Actually, that emotional question was the third question. The second question would have been me asking for the knuckle crack, but someone else.
The first guy in the other line had the knuckle crack.
I know. So I got to experience a crowd of people who had never experienced the knuckle crack.
Experiencing the knuckle crack.
And let me tell you, the oh noise that they made was...
I'm building my knuckles up because I got to use them again in 3 weeks.
I know.
Got to be careful with that because we've only had like a month to recharge as opposed to the usual 6 months.
But people lined up early. The keynote filled up. as it should have. The Q&A was full. People knew what to do.
Everything filled because the rooms are small, but they still let in. While the PAX was physically smaller, it was sold out. There were still tons of people everywhere, so everything filled all the time. I think every single panel, except for the Skippy Theater, filled 100%. I'm pretty sure.
Yeah, if not, the vast majority of them definitely filled. People lined up. Our panel was the first one of the. It was in the first.
It felt just like the first panel we did at PAX 08.
Yep, where we're like, I wonder if people are going to show up, and then we go over to the panel room.
There's a line of people waiting. It's somewhat significant. We go inside, and then boom, the room is full. We're like, well, 100% full. How about that?
Yep, people lined up for a long time to see our panel, and what was great. Almost no one we knew lined up to see our panel. Thank you guys.
Yeah.
Finally.
The people we knew didn't fly to Australia to take seats away from new listeners.
It's like, yeah, dude, I'm glad that you really like my anime openers from around the world panel, but you've seen it 3 times.
And
it's
the room
same.
Is full, and there's someone outside who hasn't seen it.
And it's been the same 3 years in a row. I have literally not changed the words that I have said.
We did the usual panel. People liked it. As we predicted, they don't have indie tabletop RPGs in Australia, really.
That was the main reason we did such an old standby panel for ourselves, Beyond Dungeons & Dragons. And on the tram to PAX, we picked a random dude. We're like, yo, dog, because he was a tabletop RPGer. We were talking to him. He's like really into D&D. Well, we queried him.
Pathfinder's big there.
He's really into Pathfinder. I think most people are into Pathfinder. And we were like, all right, we're going to list a bunch of games. Tell us if you've heard of any of these. Burning Wheel? Nope. Inspectors? Nope. Any other game? Nope. What do you play? Pathfinder, and I used to play D&D 3rd Ed.
I think one guy mentioned L5R to me at a point during the weekend.
Yep.
I saw actually 2 tables in tabletop playing L5R card game.
I saw those guys.
Whoa.
In fact, I saw those guys and I talked to them a little bit because they moved their table over by one of the heaters.
Yeah, but pretty much only the biggest games are like worthwhile for companies to send there, which is really interesting. Is if you the one thing that really interested me was how, as usual, WotC takes up about half the tabletop space.
Yep.
Usually when they take up the tabletop space at a PAX, Easton Prime, half of their WotC space is Magic and half of it is D&D. At PAX Australia, it was 100% Magic with no D&D. They did not bring any D&D anything to PAX Australia. They only brought Magic. Magic was huge there, right? The local game store that we went to, I went there for a Netrunner tournament, actually, later in the week when Rim wasn't there. It's pretty much just a Magic store with a little bit of board games in the corner, right? And just Magic was just huge. I mean, it's huge everywhere, but it was just, the percentage-wise, it was bigger, right? Even though overall size, probably about the same as it was at Prime or, whatever. It's just Magic is their game because Magic is a big enough game that it's worth economically to send it to Australia, even though Magic cards there are twice the cost they are here.
Yeah.
So, yeah, it's just like Magic just took over almost all the gaming space. There was still a lot of board gaming going on. But
now, the space that was not Magic was pretty much all hardcore German-style games, and people really were only playing quality games.
I saw, Cards Against Humanities and things around. But,
but
it was
most of them...
Mostly I saw Power Grids. I saw Agricolas all over.
Lots of Agricolas.
I saw more Agricolas and Power Grids than I saw Settlerses. There was some Race for the Galaxies.
I saw multiple games of Eclipse going on.
Puerto Rico's, all that kind of stuff.
It was so hard to find tabletop space, though, that we basically did
it's always hard to find tabletop space.
It was hardest.
Maybe.
Hardest.
We had tables.
Yes, we got table space by not using tables at one point and going to the queue room, which was mostly empty, and running some Burning Wheel over there. So
that was at the peak hour.
Yeah. So they also had a 3DS lounge, a portable lounge
as
like
usual.
They do. No sumos, they had just regular old beanbags. They worked okay.
They were sort of weird seat-shaped beanbags.
They worked okay.
Yeah.
I'm done with the beanbag as a thing to sit on.
No?
They're not that good.
I'm rather sit on that than the floor.
But yeah, pretty much everyone in that area seemed to mostly be playing Candy Box Street Pass.
I saw Animal Crossing's Fire Emblems.
Yeah, that's mostly what I saw.
They also had a
Candy
TV
Box.
just showing Adventure Time the whole time.
Yeah, I guess copyright stuff like that is not a big deal. They can just show stuff randomly. It looked like someone just
totally
did that.
Acceptable.
Speaking of not worrying about stuff, the fire marshals in Australia seem to be quite unconcerned with the level of fire marshalness that they're exuding. But they look the same as our American fire marshals.
Yep, they're just Australian.
Yep, they have the same mustaches, same culture, but I talked to one of them, they seemed amazed that the enforcers managed the lines and everything so well that they basically, after the first few minutes, were like, yeah, whatever, you guys got this. They seemed surprised, too, that they limited the number of people in the panel rooms to the number of seats. I overheard a conversation where I think it was the fire marshal said something like, you could just let people stand at the back. Like, I'm not going to stop you.
They were like, yeah, no, we're not doing that. What else was different and noteworthy about PAX Oz?
There's quite a bit. So one, PC gaming is obviously way bigger there.
Yep.
And there was more. Console gaming was a joke at this con. It was a tiny little space. A lot of times the TVs were not 100% occupied. And because of the bad free speech in Australia, you needed to wear a wristband showing if you were above 18 or above 15. You couldn't go into certain areas unless you had the right colored wristband.
Yeah, even the expo hall, I think, you needed to get, there were like certain booths in the expo hall. You needed to be 18 to go into the booth. It was just, and then didn't you have to be 15 period to get in there?
Even tabletop, the whole
I
big
don't
top.
remember the exact,
whole big top, you needed your 15 plus wristband to get in.
Yeah. It's crazy.
Yeah, we had to show our ID every day to get a black wristband to be allowed to go to PC gaming.
That's what the problem with no free speech is.
But we went over to PC gaming. They only let you play for like 45 minutes because there was a constant crazy line to play.
We were definitely in there for less than 4. We were in there maybe a half hour.
I went over there to join the gun game Counter-Strike tournament, and it was already, there's so many people were lined up that they doubled the size of the tournament effectively and still turned away almost everyone who was standing there. It was ridiculous.
PC gaming is king. And everywhere in the world except the US and Japan.
And in the PC gaming area, it seemed like it was mostly League of Legends.
Yep.
And Counter-Strike.
Yep, those are the top 2 games for sure.
A handful of like Portal co-ops, a handful of other things. But
yeah, Dota was up there, but not as nearly as big as League of Legends.
Interestingly, 0 World of Warcraft.
Well, I don't think there was really internet in the...
I know there was because I saw a number of people log out of the PAX Steam and log in with their own accounts.
Oh, I guess there was.
I saw lots of people doing that.
All right, maybe there was.
I am very vindicated in my skills at Counter-Strike, too, because I got to say, when we played, Scott, you did not do so well.
I did, okay.
You did not. I won our second game, came in second place in the first game, notwithstanding of the one guy who was crazy better than everyone. I beat him in the second game.
Listen, I killed people. I wasn't down at the bottom, like just getting killed, not killing anybody.
In the first game, you were second to the bottom.
I wasn't.
Yeah, you were second to the bottom.
No.
I took screenshots that I cannot share because they're on that PC because I wasn't logged into my Steam account. I should have taken a picture with my phone.
What other games did you say you won that you didn't win that I won?
I don't remember what else we played. You beat me more times than I beat you at that weird gear game.
Oh, gear game. That was my game. That's my web of power.
Yeah, you weren't undefeated in that game, though.
That's true.
Yeah.
Never playing web of power again.
I think web of power is your web of power.
Obviously.
But yeah, PC gaming was super rocking the whole time. And another side point about the 3DS Lounge, the challenge that they had on the whiteboard was old school snaking Mario Kart, get the fastest ghost in, I think, the Luigi's Mansion level.
Stage, yeah.
Yeah, the Waluigi. It was some stage. I think it was Waluigi pinball, right?
Yep.
Yeah. Yeah, I looked at my old copy of that game. That time is fucking ridiculous. Fucking ridiculous.
The guy probably just snaked the whole thing.
Yeah, but I snaked the whole thing, and I could get nowhere near that. So that guy must have snaked to a degree that is legendary.
Okay, I'm sure the enforcers checked it out to make sure he wasn't cheating.
I'm sure they did. It was an interesting note. The expo hall, very tiny, as expected.
Very tiny. Really, I mean, usually in the expo hall, which is the part of PAX I care about less than others, you walk around it once, you look at every booth, and usually I see a bunch of things in there. For example, at PAX East last year, I saw Shovel Knight, and I saw there was a tabletop dealer that looked at some board games they had. We discovered Spot It in there 2 years ago at PAX East, right? I usually see things in there like, ooh, right? At this PAX Oz, I basically saw nothing in that expo hall. The only thing of interest to me was there was a booth for Madman, which is pretty much the company that brings anime and manga to Australia, as in the company. There isn't another one. It doesn't seem like, to me anyway. And I was able to reconnoiter the anime manga situation of Australia.
So that aside, the fact that there was more than one Edward Elric cosplayer at PAX Australia says something. So
anime and manga were bigger in Australia in general than I had thought.
They were.
It should have been obvious because it's physically close to Japan, but It's big.
They were a big part of PAX. Pretty much everyone we met, because we just met random people and hung out and played games with them. In fact, I remember there was a couple that we played some games with at the end of one of those tabletop rows one day.
Yep.
They were super cool. We basically formed this group of smart people who would play games quickly, and it was great. And out of nowhere, I was like, something anime, something Attack on Titan. And the guy was like, something Attack on Titan. And I'm like, wait a minute. You speak of the anime.
Speaking of anime.
And normally...
pretty much everyone spoke of the anime. We went to this bar that was totally animate out.
Yeah, instead of going to Gordon Biersch after PAX like we normally do,
we went to the equivalent, but it was totally anime.
Yeah, like...
what was it called? Was it like...
It was Asian Beer Cafe.
Asian Beer Cafe.
Just anime stuff all over the walls.
Astro Boy in the bathroom.
And the thing is...
They were watching High School of the Dead on the TV.
The place was just normal, semi-hip people hanging out. It just happened to be super anime.
It was anime around, just like, here you can only find anime in an anime store or in the anime corner of a Best Buy.
I'll be honest, at PAX, if I'm hanging out with someone new that I don't know and like something anime and anime comes up, I'll usually ask, oh, so what shows do you like? And usually they won't be able to mention much, and I'll get to do my usual, oh, well, you should watch Cowboy Bebop. That's probably up your alley.
You didn't need to do that in Australia.
Here, I was like, yeah, so what do you watch? He's like, well, right now I'm watching Attack on Titan and all these other current shows.
Yeah, I've seen Utena.
Yep. I was like, what are your favorite shows? He's like, well, Cowboy Bebop, duh. So, I don't know, Utena's pretty good.
Yeah. It's like, oh, well, let me tell you about this thing I do.
Yeah. Well, I feel like we could have done just as well doing anime panels there.
Probably. It was just, usually in the U.S., the thing that we try to push as Geeknights is the crossover of geekeries.
Because in the U.S., it doesn't happen.
Right. And there is less of it. We always bring up Silver Age Spider-Man guy. He doesn't even cross over into X-Men. Right? But it's like this guy at PAX who loves games.
X-Men, he doesn't cross over into Golden Age.
He doesn't cross over into tech or anime or comics or anything. He's just gaming guy. In Australia, it didn't seem like that guy was there. People there who were geeks spread across the geekeries, especially the anime and the manga and the gaming. They were merged. It was the same people.
There were anime vendors. There were anime DVDs in the grab bag.
Yep.
Like, for real, anime everywhere. Everyone just kind of knows about it and watches it generically.
Wasn't like there was anime like all over PAX disproportionately. It was like just a sprinkling, like the sprinkles on the cupcake was anime.
You know what I would say?
And manga.
It was an undercurrent that the average person you talk to was also a pretty knowledgeable fan of anime.
Yep.
And happened to also be a gamer.
But they were behaving in a PAX fashion. They did not behave in an anime con fashion, even though maybe like 10% of the cosplays were animes.
I'd think more than 10% when I'm thinking back. I could go through all the pictures I took.
It's tough to say.
There were 2 separate Edward Elric cosplayers at a PAX.
It's true.
And part of that appears to be...
in 2013.
That a lot of the other cons in Australia are pretty weak sauce.
Yeah, it didn't do those other cons even have panels? Who speaks at them? Who do they get to go, right? It's like they don't have, that thing going on, that supply of panel doers, I think, that we have. Granted,
PAX for the longest time was still pretty much all industry and us. I mean...
Meanwhile, PAX Prime, if you look at the schedule, is looking to have not less industry, but because they added the 4th day, but they didn't get more industry to fill the panels, it seems like they brought in, a lot of the fan sort of content to fill in that space, which is good on them.
Good on them.
Good on them.
But yeah, I was just really surprised at the level of anime crossover and how casual it was. And I have a kind of theory that I'll get into more in another show someday. But basically, I wonder if it's because there's a deeper correlation. All the people we met at this PAX Aus, because everyone was just super chill, was also super internet-y. They knew the same things we knew. Like, new games that are coming out, even at PAX in the US, I'll be like something Civ 5, and a random person I'm with will either make up some bullshit about it or not know that Beyond the Sword.
Well, in Australia, where there's nothing, the supplies of geekery are low, you have to be internet-y. You have to.
Yes, but
if you're a PC gamer, you have to be.
There might be non-internet-y nerds there like there are here.
I'm sure
there are. But here,
because
because of other means and because PAX has been around for so long, non-internet-y people show up at PAX here. And people who like gaming but aren't super hardcore about it show up to PAXs here. Like that kid who thought that PAX and the Penny Arcade Expo were separate and thought that Penny Arcade was Homestuck.
Right.
At PAX Aus, only internet people knew that PAX Aus was happening, and it sold out immediately solely to people who were on the internet.
That's true.
So it might be that we just happened to go to a PAX that was literally only available to internet people, and internet people are the kinds of people we're talking about.
Very well could be.
That is entirely possible. Other things going on. The tabletop library was the same as always. The keynote was a great keynote. I think it was actually...
It was a typical keynote for PAX, which is, above average. It's good.
I would say it was the third or fourth best one of any PAX I've been to.
I mean, it seemed like the same keynote over and over again, which is, decent. But I'm sort of getting tired of the... Here's how I got into the gaming industry. Let's play the Woo game. Let's play the Woo game with all the old stuff that I liked when I was young and got me into gaming.
Except he talked a lot about the origins of Monkey Island. That was actually really interesting.
That was the good part. That was the fascinating
and
part.
The fact that everyone who's ever given a PAX keynote, who I respect and who has interesting things to say and has made good games, has said that Star Wars was pretty much the thing that got them going.
Yes, that's like the third or fourth time that's been like, oh my God, Star Wars.
That generation...
Which is, why? Because all these people doing it are like these 40, 50-year-old dudes.
But look at the anime industry. It's the same thing.
Our Super Mario Brothers was their Star Wars.
Every time I go to an anime thing and there's a director and they're giving some speech, they always talk about how Star Wars really pushed them.
Yep.
Star Wars, I can't think of a movie that's had that effect since Star Wars.
But yet again, it's all these people who were inspired by film and went into gaming instead of Hollywood.
Well, is it better than the people who are inspired by gaming and then go into gaming?
You end up with more Monkey Islands and less eclipses that way.
Like the people who are inspired by anime and then go into anime to make anime for people who are then inspired by that.
Listen, that's also a problem, right?
Yes, they're all problems.
Anyway.
But the enforcer culture... There were a few little missteps, a couple of line snakes that collapsed, a couple of, early missteps of this guy is new and doesn't know the official way to make a line go. By Friday afternoon, you would be hard-pressed to differentiate a PAX Aus enforcer from a PAX Prime enforcer, but for the color of their shirt.
But for
and the nature of their dialect.
I was about to say, but for their accent, you could tell.
G'day.
Yeah. What else do we have to say about PAX Australia without talking about Australia?
I just went outside.
One thing that was really interesting to me.
I went outside to the grocery store that was next to the con.
And got a hot meat pie.
I bought meat pies for $2 and Red Bulls. I probably could have just bought beer and walked into the convention center, past the convention center security, openly eating in it, and no fucks were given.
There were all the food came from these food carts at the PAX.
Now, people in
Australia... Which are basically like food trucks. And the people in Australia were like, all right, the food's okay. And I was like, this food is light years beyond the food you will get at concessions at any con I've ever been to in the U.S.
The food at this PAX...
It was one half a step below the quality of New York, street truck food. Right?
Yeah, that is the kind of food I would be okay eating now for lunch.
That burger, exactly. That burger I could got there was like a half step under Frites and Meats, right? Which is really good, New York City burger truck.
And the dim sum I got from the convention center was great dim sum.
The Australian people were like, it's all right. And I'm like, you have come to real PAX and go to the concessions, right? At PAX Prime, it's fucking
buy that $6 slice of pizza.
Yeah, go to Subway, go to the Javits and get the friggin' empanada.
Stand in line for an hour to get a crepe.
Yeah, you'll fucking kill yourself, eat that shit, right? Only because it will poison you and because it will taste so bad, you will stab yourself afterwards.
This was also the first PAX that we had
but those people like Vegemite, so fuck them.
I told you. Scott was like, we should try Vegemite because we're in
Australia. My coworker
Australia.
is now eating the Vegemite. We'll get more to that in another day.
Oh my God. We'll talk about this on Thursday, the Vegemite.
Yeah, of course.
Vegemite.
You have to talk about it when you're talking about Australia.
We do have to talk about it. But we had to take, the convention also lacked something that every other PAX has. There was no hotel gaming because there were no hotels.
That's correct.
You literally took a tram or a train a significant distance to the convention that was far away.
Or a car.
And then you left from there back, and everyone was staying all over the city. There was no place you would meet up. In fact...
And the hotels didn't really have the sort of lobbies that had gaming going on. Ours especially didn't.
Even though our hotel, I think, was 90% PAX people, there was no gaming going on in that lobby.
None whatsoever.
Now... interestingly, people did hang out after PAX, but they all went to bars to hang out, and they didn't
do
really
that at
play
regular
games there.
PAX too.
They do, but that was the only place you could go hang out after
there was
PAX.
a place, Monobar, that they really loved, but that place is like it's basically their barcade, but their barcade is just like a few TVs on the wall, and it's really tiny.
Yeah,
with
but
game consoles hooked up
I
to
poked
them.
my head in, and I got to say something about bars in general in Australia. This might be perception because I didn't poke my head into all bars, but the bars I poked my head into, both the nerdy ones and non-nerdy ones, the music and bullshit was half as loud as an average USian bar.
Well, I think New York is also particularly loud.
No, everywhere. Go to Boston, go to Seattle. They're all just so fucking loud, and I've always hated that
There was a
shit.
thing that says the places that are loud make money. The places that
I know
are quiet
they do.
go out of business.
And I can talk at length about why that's the case, but I still hate it. I would pay double just to not have it be loud.
Another interesting thing, right, is that at PAX in the US, eStore Prime, all the official PAX merch, especially the t-shirts that say PAX on them and the scarves that say PAX on them, sell the fuck out. You cannot get one on Sunday, usually, unless it's like a ladies extra small or some shit like that, right? At PAX Aus, people were buying merch on the way out as they were being shoved out of PAX as it was closed, and there was still some left. I don't know if Robert Koo will be happy about that, because he bought merch he can basically never sell. But that was interesting that they're not buying the t-shirts. They didn't sell out.
But I bought the t-shirts because if I'm going to fly that far,
That's
I'm going to
right.
have the fucking shirt.
Of course.
And wear it to other PAXs and be like, yeah, what?
Duh.
But the official shirt, not the like year shirt, but just the sort of stylized
The one
Atari
with the
cartridge
spider?
shirt is so great.
Yeah.
For so many reasons.
All of those, that whole set is great.
I know, but this one in
I have the full
particular,
set, by the way.
It was the spider for one. And two, the PAL logo on the bottom really sealed the deal.
They definitely did.
But yeah, people it was a PAX. The people were like PAX people, just more chill and hip for the reasons we talked about. We'll see if that continues to be true. I don't know how PAX can grow in Melbourne.
There
or
was
Australia.
There was that other convention-y place.
That's next to the casino.
Next to the casino, and I don't know if PAX really wants to use casino space.
We checked the space out to a degree. It's okay. It's not great. It's not optimal. I think they'd still be better off being there than being in the showgrounds.
They're better off being sometime when it's warm and not cold.
Rumor has it it'll be in a warmer time next year.
Yeah, I mean, basically, at the closing ceremonies, Jerry said, PAX will be in Australia next year. So he didn't confirm a time or place.
I am 99% sure Melbourne, and I am
there were people basically saying, yeah, we heard it'll still be Melbourne.
and I am 80% sure summertime, maybe fall,
It will probably be
maybe
a warmer
spring,
time.
not winter.
Yep.
Because that shit was way too cold. I wore my kilt one day and then nope. Thus, I wore the same increasingly getting more and more dirty jeans every
Sadly,
day.
the next PAX, the first PAX I won't go to since 2008 will probably be, that's not a dev PAX, will probably be PAX Aus 2013, 14.
So, speaking of that.
Unless someone pays for us to go.
So, speaking of that.
'Cause
One,
that was a lot of money.
our panel seemed super successful. But two, there were a lot of Geeknights listeners at this PAX.
Yeah, I didn't count them, but people basically kept coming up to us all the time, talking, knowing who we were, or they saw us at our panel and they said our panel was good, and I was like, all right, okay.
Yeah. One guy actually brought up Radio Free Equestria to me, and he was like, yeah, you should do more of that.
No.
He knew me as the Radio Free Equestria guy because I had a Rainbow Daz on my badge.
Of course, Rainbow
And I was
Days.
like, yeah, I'm here as a speaker. He's like, oh, what'd you do? And I was like, yeah,
What'd you do?
Well, gaming, Geek Nights. And he thought that we were just the RFE guys.
Yeah, we're from Australia, the RP.
Yeah.
Anyway.
But there were so many listeners there, it was kind of unnerving, which kind of proves what we've been going for all along, that we come from the internet. Our culture is on the internet. So our people are not tied to geography. They're tied to the geography solely of language.
Correct.
If you speak English and are a nerd, you might be our people.
Yes.
Two, all the listeners there were pretty vociferously trying to get us to do a Kickstarter.
I wouldn't say all. I would say there was at one point a group of people near us who suggested
Well,
that.
because everyone else had left and the convention was closed, and we were still there because we did the classic trick of just stand there until everyone else leaves around you, and then the doors close around you, and now you're still inside.
and now the
thing's
train is
closed.
gone. You need to use the tram.
Yeah, Mamath sent us a She
Isn't it
texted me and
mammoth?
she was like, I don't know. I didn't say it out loud at any point. This is the first time I've ever said it out loud.
It's like my internet name. It's not a name you say. Yeah.
She tweeted at us. She was like, yeah, dogs, last train out of Dodge just left. And I was like, fucks.
Tram is much slower.
Yeah, but the tram was all PAX, and it was all the people that we kind of accidentally kept
We
in
had
PAX.
good times on trams or trains with other people.
Yes. Actually, really good times. We basically gave impromptu Geek Night shows / panels on the tram for a surprisingly captive audience in that they couldn't get off the tram.
Yeah.
So, but this group of people that was left was mostly Geek Nights listeners, and they were like, yeah, why don't you kickstart it? We would all contribute to that. And we're like, yeah, right. And they were like, no, really, we would really contribute to that. Really do
I don't know
it.
if that's a thing you can kickstart. Buy me a trip to
do you
Australia.
know how many Kickstarters I've seen that are that? The Kickstarter would be, we will go to PAX Aus 2014, do a panel at it, do a live Geek Nights recording at it, and then the stretch goals will be things like, we'll visit Sydney and do a meetup.
Why don't we ask our friends who work at Kickstarter for advice in that department?
I looked at several Kickstarters that were that.
What'd you do?
There are so many Kickstarters that are literally that.
What'd you do?
We could do that. What, are you going to interrupt the show to note that I knocked the Marantz over?
And unplugged it?
It's battery powered. It still recorded everything.
Okay.
We're not backing up this last 2 minutes of the show. Oh,
well,
no.
let's just end the show now, then.
You want to end the show now?
There's not much. What else do you have to say about PAX Australia?
I got a lot to say about PAX Australia, but I think it's better served by a straight-up Australia show at this point.
Yeah, we pretty much... Oh, the Omegathon finale was the big Jenga that they always use?
Yeah, which to the crowd
sort of
there was off the hook.
But to
me,
us, was a cop-out.
I've seen that before, and it wasn't even the final round.
Yeah.
I can understand why, though, because after the incident at the last PAX...
And you're at a showgrounds, pretty much anything you try will fail. So
And...
great job with the pinball fake out.
Oh, my God. The thing is, it got you, and it didn't get me, Captain.
All right.
You were like, it's pinball. It's pinball. I was like, there's no way it's pinball. Do you really believe, Scott Rubin, that Robert Koo, the man who is the genius at this kind of thing...
I was thinking that, obviously. I'm not that dumb. I was thinking the surprise would be what pinball it was and not...
Well, there was that Metallica pinball in the expo hall.
Which was surprising because that's like the newest pinball machine.
It wasn't in the expo hall. It was in the big top.
Right, but it's kind of rare, that pinball machine. It's like they only made so many of them on Earth, so to have that many on Australia was a big deal.
There's just a row of them. You could play them for charity.
Yeah, but no, I thought it was going to be like custom penny arcade pinball table or something insane like that.
Yes, but you thought that they would be so careless as to cover the pinball machine with a sheet, a form-hugging sheet that made it obvious it was a pinball. I was sure from the second I saw that it was a fake out.
I was thinking it could be pinball, and the surprise of it would not be that it was pinball, but what pinball. And people would freak out because of what pinball it was and not the fact that it was pinball.
Also, pinball would not have been that interesting to watch. Crane game was much
true.
better.
That's true. You do have that.
There were
correct.
too many factors. There was no way. That was
I
anything but a
did
fake
not
out.
consider that. If I had done so, I would have realized.
But when they went around with the traditional guess what the Omegathon finale will be, I'm very happy to report that multiple people had written Knifey Spoony.
Knifey Spoony.
So yeah, maybe not coming back to PAX Aus 2014, but
I will not pay for it with my own money.
I might, because I might have some work excuses to go to Australia anyway.
That's not your own money. That's your company's
yeah,
money.
so if I'm there, I'll pay my own money for all the other stuff.
Yeah, but I'm not paying for my own money for a $2,000 round trip plane ticket. That's not happening again.
Whatevs. That's not even a month's
Not
rent.
next year anyway. Unless maybe, I could win a lottery for it with a ticket I did not buy. Maybe I will find a lottery ticket on the ground someone else bought and discarded that will happen to win.
My office did the pool as usual, and I did not contribute.
Of course, you are wise. You will
However,
spend your dollars on an app on Steam.
So there was a Fark story. I forget when, but I remember reading
guy didn't
about
go
this.
in the pool and the
A guy
office
didn't
won?
go into the pool, and his office won like $10 million.
Yep.
Yeah, I don't want to be that guy, but I still didn't give him my $5.
What if you're that guy and everyone in your company quits?
I think if that happens, they might just give me some money anyway. That's what I'm holding out on.
How much do you think they'll give you?
I don't know.
Imagine if you were in it and another guy at your company. Think about the person at your company is the most annoying.
You know what? If it's a small company,
and they didn't put any money in, what are you going to give them?
Well, it's the annoying guy, so 0.
Okay, you're the annoying guy.
No, I'm not the annoying guy.
You are.
I'm the weird guy. I'm not the annoying guy.
Find the weirdest guy besides you.
The weirdest guy might get some money because he's so weird. Everyone's afraid that he's gonna go weird one day.
No. We're done.
This has been Geeknights with Rim and Scott. Special thanks to DJ Pretzel for the opening music, Kat Lee for web design, and Brando K for the logos.
Be sure to visit our website at frontrowcrew.com for show notes, discussion, news, and more.
Remember, Geeknights is not one, but 4 different shows. Sci-Tech Mondays, Gaming Tuesdays, Anime Comic Wednesdays, and Indiscriminate Thursdays.
Geeknights is distributed under a Creative Commons Attribution 3.0 license. Geeknights is recorded live with no studio and no audience. But unlike those other late shows, it's actually recorded at night. But didn't have anything added to it, so they had a special upgrade pack for $5. They got you everything but the Brave New World, and then Brave New World was on sale. So I was able to get exactly all the things I didn't have for a very reasonable price. Good on them for recognizing.
Good on them.
Yeah, for having that that package.
But then we're in Australia at PAX, and there was this great moment where we're talking to the security guard hanging out outside of PAX, and basically the guy's like, yeah, Steam sale, you realize you should check it at like 1 in the morning, right?
I think it was 3 in the morning.
Yeah.
Because usually it
not
updates
during
at
the
1
day.
p.m. in New York, and I think it updates at 10 or 11 in the morning in California where Valve is.
That was the night we'd arrived in Melbourne, so that was the moment I realized, oh shit, son, we're a long way away from home.
Yeah. It was
Poor Australian gamers checking
it was really interesting though, because it's like we would be finishing up, like, Tuesday's almost over. Oh, in New York, Tuesday is just starting.
Yeah, assholes, enjoy our already pre-used day.
Yeah.
We had this day.
You realize this is a Tuesday show, right? It's already Wednesday in Australia.
I know.
They're already Wednesdaying, probably sleeping or about to wake up, and we are still not done with Tuesday yet.
So, of all the news we could have talked about, I mean, Dragon's Crown is having its furor both between the people mad about it and the people mad.
You mean furor?
And people mad about being mad about it, and people saying it's sexist, and people saying it's not sexist, and people, it's all over the place, but I really don't care. Though,
I also don't care.
Though, the game apparently, according to people I trust, is a fun game.
I'm again it.
You're gonna get it?
I'm again it.
Okay. But and the Steam sale.
It's just really, all the art I've seen is just hideous. Whether it's sexist or not, it's just hideous.
But
it's unpleasant to behold.
It's supposed to be hideous on purpose, which in a way...
yeah, I can recognize that, but I still personally, I'm not made pleasure by gazing my eyes upon it, so I will not subject myself to that further.
Look at 2 anime movies, Sword of yeah, Candy Box. Those games are all Candy Box.
Okay,
Scott, I can't believe you're playing them.
The 4-game...
You paid money to play those games.
The 4-game Candy Box package for $15, right? Do you know how much money Nintendo has made in total?
Oh, Nintendo knows.
Nintendo made, I think the number in the article I read was a total of $8 million from sales of the Candy Box package alone.
So Nintendo has learned...
I might be remembering the number wrong. Look it up.
This is why I'm saying Nintendo didn't learn their lesson. Nintendo... when they moved from the GameCube, which had wonderful tech demos and experiments, that was like the height of Nintendo, not from a business perspective, not from any perspective, but me as a gamer wanting to play Nintendo games.
Just because you happen to be in an environment in which it was perfect. If we were in college right now, the Wii U would actually be kind of okay.
Kind of okay, but it wouldn't be as good as the
Wii U would have been
the
Wii. If you were in college 4 years earlier, the Wii would have been our GameCube, right? Because it would have been the multiplayer system of choice.
Except I think we would have used the Wii to play a lot of multiplayer GameCube games.
Possibly.
But that's a separate discussion.
But there was Mario Party Wii.
But Nintendo moved from its previous demographics to the Blue Water strategy, the open oceans, and they started going after these casual light markets and all these things. And I don't want to try to say that casual gaming is bad because that's a really loaded term anyway. But Nintendo is still going after that kind of market and is really ignoring gamers like me.
Yeah. So
I don't know what their future is because that
Where's our 3DS Advance Wars, bitches?
Yeah, well, there's Fire Emblem instead, which
3DS
seriously, guys, Fire Emblem,
not as good as Advance Wars.
kind of fun, but it's just mediocre dating game coupled with Crystal Warriors.
I have a feeling the 3DS one has a little bit more dating than the previous ones did. Not that the other ones didn't have
Now,
it.
I've gone through emulation and looked at old, but these games are baby's first Advance Wars, which means that the It's Tuesday, August 6th, 2013. I'm Rim.
I'm Scott.
And this is Geeknights. We're back from PAX Australia to talk about gaming and PAX in Australia.
Good day.
Let's do this. Yeah, it's been a while since we've done this.
Well, let's save our. Hopefully, we've filled up the bins of material for us to use to get us through the next month. Oh, but then there's a real PAX.
Yep, and then we're gonna have even more material.
And then it'll be the quiet times. We have to use all the material, and then New Year's.
So I was biking to work today.
Yeah, let's do that. Let's talk about biking to work because the Australia material we have to save for the Thursday episode.
No, I got no biking to work. My bit is
I got
back.
no biking to work either because my arm is fucked up.
I bike to work, same as always. It was
now,
kinda,
as soon as I can bike to work, yeah, my arm's fucked up. Fuck this.
It's kind of weird being back in the States. I will just say one thing. Because I drove long distance in Australia and I biked around a whole bunch, and jaywalking constantly, I almost rode on the left side of the road when I went to work that Monday.
I did not make that mistake ever.
I literally came out and I started to go to the left side of the road. Then my brain's like, Rim, seriously?
I did not
Really?
make that mistake.
Really?
I think you're just making it up.
No, I actually almost did. Right at under the 7 train and the N.
Anyway.
But yeah, we're back. We're bad. We missed a crazy ton of news like the Steam sale, which luckily
I was able to buy games using my mobile app.
Well, the Steam sale got us doubly because we had Kineticon. So we're running everything there and then checking our Steam apps and buying things. I remember Civ 5 went on flash sale while I was doing Kineticon stuff and I had to get the app working to buy the game in
Thankfully,
time.
they seem to have realized that there were people who had Civ 5 business in the UK and all our income was pounds coming to India digitally.
So, Scott,
we would be raking in
Scott,
so
I'll put
much.
it this way. I know people who worked in the US, moved to India, continued to work for the company in the US, making their original US salary
and living
in India.
like kings.
Those people are not living like kings. They are living like God kings.
God kings.
I would almost consider moving to India.
If it didn't smell like poop. Listen, there's plenty of other places we can move and be just as God kingly.
How about Estonia?
Not the worst.
I hear there's a lot of nerdery going on in Estonia.
I mean, it could even be somewhere that's,
How about Australia, where American dollar's weaker?
That's only slightly. It was effectively equal. I didn't have to pay attention to it.
It's interesting how the dollar was slightly weaker than their dollar, but yet things cost 50% more in their own dollars.
Well, also the tax. Let's save it. Save
We'll
all
save
the
it, save it,
Australia
save it.
Turk.
But I don't think Nintendo is learning their
Australia
lesson.
talk.
Because what Nintendo seems to be doing is, one, the DS, which has become the 3DS, that product line is still doing fine, though I think it's still seriously getting hurt by mobile. A lot of people aren't going to buy the shovelware.
I don't know if the 3DS is doing as well as the DS
Definitely
GBA, but it's still doing really fucking well.
But the thing is, look at what they're focusing on. There are third-party games. They're really good, but the shovelware is not doing as well because no one's going to buy $40 shovelware for the expensive 3DS when they can buy $1 shovelware from the $1 App Store.
That's right. I only play shovelware on my phone. I don't play no shovelware on my 3DS.
Yep. Meanwhile, me, who's tired of Nintendo who betrayed me and all us hardcore so-called gamers, recently just bought a pile of 3DS games. But I'm not going to buy the Wii U because there's literally no game that's worthwhile on the
One
console.
positive for Nintendo, those little Street Pass games?
Ranger was a sort of just straightforward action drama anime.
Yeah.
And then there was Skycrawlers, which was slow and repetitive and slow and long
neither one
and
was
repetitive.
displeasing to my brain.
Yeah, for most people, slow, long, repetitive, and slow do not a great movie make, and they find those
Their
movies.
attention spans are small.
but that because my point
Their attention
is,
span is the size of my tolerance for ugliness.
my point is that movie was a perfect confluence of form and function. It is possible that in the case of this game, the hideous art is designed to complement the hideous gameplay.
I do not trust that anyone who would create that hideous art would be simultaneously wise enough to develop the other parts.
I would have been more likely to play it if it had looked like Penny Arcade's rendering.
That is true.
But yeah, of all the news I could talk about, there actually is something I do want to talk about because it's basically the inverse of the news I was talking about back when the Wii came out. But in a way, it's the same news. So, turns out that even now, the Wii U is literally being outsold on a day-to-day basis by the Wii.
Yep.
The Wii. A dead, deprecated console is selling more than Nintendo's flagship product.
Hooray.
I don't know what I can
teach
say
you a
about
lesson.
that.
Maybe I hope just Nintendo learns a lesson.
I don't think they have.
They never will.
It is possible because Nintendo was not profitable and they have returned to profitability. It is entirely possible that the majority of their return to profitability was nothing more than a currency fluctuation.
Though that happens when you're a foreign company.
Yeah.
And you make a lot of your money. If you live in one country and make all your money from another country, like, think about it. A British pound is worth a lot of money, right?
I'm in that boat with my actual day job
What
company.
if we worked in India and had rupees, but we did